The Home Tech Podcast is supported by listeners like you. To find out more, go to HomeTech.fm/support. This is the Home Tech Podcast for Friday, August 24th. Oh my God. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
And from Denver, Colorado, I'm Jason Griffin. How you doing, Seth?
Good, Jason. I can't believe it's already the end of August. I don't even know what happened to the beginning of August.
I know. The countdown is on. We're like 2 weeks from CEDIA as we're sitting here and recording. So by the time this airs, we'll be like a week and a half. So getting really close. Excited for that.
Scary. I'm guessing you're all ready to go. Like, are you working the floor this year?
Yeah, totally. Yep, I'm working the floor, and I am actually co-presenting in 3 different workshops on Tuesday and Wednesday, the service workshops. So if any home technology professionals are listening to the show, we definitely would love to have you. Just go on the CEDIA training site and search for Serviceology. We've got 3 different workshops we're doing there. So I will be busy, but definitely hoping to have some time to enjoy the show floor. And I think later in the week, things will lighten up for me a little bit, and I'll hopefully have a little bit of time to relax and go connect with some old friends.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we're looking forward to it. I know one of those connections is going to be on Friday or Thursday at 5:30 for the Home Tech Happy Hour, right? So you'll be there, right?
That's right.
I'll be there.
That's right. I will absolutely be there. All 3 of my workshops will be done at that point, so I'll be ready to relax a little bit and have some fun. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll talk in a little bit more detail if you're not familiar with that Home Tech Happy Hour here a little bit later in the show.
Yep. Well, Jason, this week I went to the Facebook website. I don't know if you've ever heard of this, Facebook. And I saw a picture you had posted. The Facebook, yeah. I saw a picture that you had posted. And man, you look like you've been busy.
Yeah, I had a busy weekend. Big project we're very excited about. This has nothing to do, by the way, with home technology. So I will keep this short and sweet, I promise. But as listeners to the show are likely aware, my wife and I have 2 young kids. We've got a daughter who's going to turn 4 here this fall and a son who just turned 2. And so we had the backyard redone, and we just got a brand new swing set that we ordered, and it arrived last week. And so I had some help from a neighbor who came over on Saturday and helped me get this thing put together. And that took, the 2 of us a solid 8 hours. And then it took me solo another solid 8 or 9 hours on Sunday to get this thing built. But we've got a legitimate play set in our backyard now, and the kids are super excited about it, and I'm just happy that it's done.
Yeah, legitimate doesn't begin to describe how giant this thing is. Like, but
it's a beast.
I took a look at it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, now that you got that up, it's time to retrofit in the outdoor speakers. You got to get that out there. There's home.
Get some strip lighting on the play set. There's a lot we could do with that.
There's that new Philips Hue the rope light stuff
That's
that they
right.
have. You could run that out there.
Right.
Give them a spaceship to climb up into.
We're gonna make it happen, but we're pretty excited, and I'm doing my best to not think about the day like 7 or 8 years from now when I've got to go out there and try to figure out how I'm gonna get that thing out of my backyard.
I think you keep it there. You're committed. That's gonna have to stay.
Yeah, at this point we're locked in. Exactly.
All right. Well, what do you say we jump into some home tech headlines?
Let's do it. Netflix is officially done purging user reviews, a decade's worth of comments praising and excoriating shows all gone. Under the question, how do I post reviews on Netflix? The service's help center now says Netflix customers were able to leave reviews on Netflix until mid-2018 when reviews were removed due to declining use. To learn how Netflix suggests TV shows and movies we think you'll love, visit our ratings and recommendations article.
There you go. Too bad. Netflix has also confirmed a major change to its video streaming service, effective as of this week for a couple of users. Video ads for other Netflix series between episodes. The news emerged from user reports, particularly on the primary Netflix Reddit community, in which users claimed that ads for entirely different series would play between the episodes of a given show's binging. So if you're sitting there Netflixing and chilling and watching, Altered Carbon, you may see something else pop up for, I'm trying to remember, Moana or something. I don't know. But anyway, in response, I guess it'd have to be a Netflix another Netflix show for this to happen. In response to the online outcry, which has largely been negative, of course, and a Netflix spokesperson indicated that the company was mindful of, quote, chatter on social channels. I love how they put that in quotes.
Yeah.
But it's focused far more on how users will interact with these new video ads. In other words, if the users engage with these promotions, Netflix will likely roll them out to many, many, many more people.
Mm-hmm.
Little testing going on.
Yeah, so basically Netflix is saying, we hear the trolls and we're basically not going to listen to them and we're going to put these ads in here anyways. Hey, more power to them. We'll see how it works. According to newly released analytics from the media pros at ComScore, the number of homes that own streaming TV services has spiked by 58% in the last year. The total number, 4.9 million, is a whole 5% of U.S. households that choose to stream over Wi-Fi-based services without the bells and whistles of traditional paid TV. This was a really interesting. I want to just do a quick follow-up point on this one because the number jumped out at me as actually low. I would have guessed that the number of homes was higher than 5% at this point. So reading the story, what was weird to me and what I don't get is that it says ComScore specifically looked at, quote, pure play systems, meaning streamers that don't offer their own original shows the same way that other services like Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime do. Right now, these players include Sling, along with DirecTV Now, PlayStation View, YouTube TV, and others. A full 10% of streaming time nationwide comes from these services in past April, according to ComScore. So I'm reading this, and I'm thinking, why wouldn't this include Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime? That doesn't make sense to me. So a little bit confusing, but I guess the main story here is that there's growth. That's not going to surprise anybody. Again, I think 5% is low, and I'm very curious if anybody knows why they would have structured the survey this way. I'd love to hear about it.
The only difference I can see in these are that the DirecTV, Sling, PlayStation View, those and YouTube TV, those are the kinds of services that are offering like direct competition with a cable service. So if you wanted to get ESPN and ABC and network services and that kind of thing, you would subscribe to those and you'd still be able to get, 30, I think most of the packages had like 30 channels or something like that you could get, maybe more. But they were all floating around that $30 mark. So maybe that's what they're trying to like dig down and measure and get Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime out of the way, because those are completely different services.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I think you're probably right. They're trying to compare more of like the direct competitors to cable. Yep.
A recent report from Consumer Intelligence Research Partners indicates that Apple has established a foothold in the U.S. smart speaker market, nabbing a 6% share. Amazon still dominates the market with a staggering 70% share, followed by Google at 24%. Apple remains an underdog, of course, but its tiny share generates higher revenue per device than Amazon's and Google's devices. And the Mac maker can also use HomePods to tether more users to paid subscription services, such as Apple Music. 70%. Crazy.
Yeah. No kidding. Well, speaking of Apple, little follow-up story here. Last year, IKEA rolled out HomeKit support to its Trod-free smart lighting products. And now the Swedish company is seemingly looking to further expand its HomeKit offerings with a new smart plug. This is where this one's going to get fun, Seth. According to a report from Swedish news outlet Teknikvikan.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's
Swedish
my
chef.
best effort there. Swedish chef, exactly. IKEA is planning to launch a new smart plug in its line of products. So it looks like this is going to be cheap, $10. And we'll also, for those of you who are feeling like, having some fun with the Swedish language, we'll post a link to the Swedish version of this story, and you can knock yourself out.
Yeah. I saw this article and it's like 149 kroner. What does that translate to? And it turns out it's like 10 or 15 bucks. So
$10.
That's incredibly inexpensive, especially for a HomeKit product.
Yeah.
Amazon is working on a new device to record live television in a bid to compete with in a market dominated by TiVo. A source told Bloomberg. The e-commerce Titans Lab 126 R&D division is reportedly building the DVR, which is internally called Frank, and will connect to Amazon's Fire TV box. I used to have a cat called Frank. Wasn't a very good cat.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Looks like, as it's currently planned, it would let you record live TV and stream it to your phone, although it sounds like that's a little bit up in the air. And then obviously storing data locally, something these boxes don't currently have the ability to do. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that one.
Yep.
Speaking of Amazon, as of this week, Amazon Alexa devices with displays can play video stream recaps from select smart home cameras. This was announced by Amazon. Alexa customers in the U.S., U.S. specific, it sounds like, who have home security cameras from Ring, August, Arlo, CloudCam, and Logitech can now view camera history feeds on Echo Show, Echo Spot, Fire TV, and Fire tablets.
That's a killer feature of these little panels that I really haven't gotten into, but I can think of a million and one times that I had to retrofit a video intercom in, to go from the door to the kitchen, and you'd have to use this really old technology, and now here we are in 2018. You can get a Ring doorbell or August or Arlo, stick it up on the wall there, and then put one of these Echo tablets in, and you've got a video intercom right out to the front door. So it's great.
Yeah. Pretty neat. It says the command is something like Alexa, show the event that just happened at the front door. So there you have it. Plus, Seth, you now have an extra A word to bleep out in post.
Nope.
You've
not
just
doing
given
it.
up.
Not doing it. Not giving up.
Protesting.
Alexa, yeah. Well, I mean, you could tell we pulled these from stories, and they can't even write the stories, right?
Yeah.
So. Alexa and Cortana aren't making music together yet, but the two digital assistants made their first integrated appearance in a public preview announced simultaneously on August 15th on Amazon and Microsoft blogs. Each device's access to the other assistant's full capabilities and feature sets will come in time and will grow, both companies asserted. During the public preview, which is available to U.S. customers only, Cortana's and Alexa's cross-platform capabilities are limited to basic skills.
Yeah, I got to say this one's a little bit of a head-scratcher to me. I'm trying to think of the use case, but I suppose if you've got some of each of these devices, you'll find a way to make them work together. This, by the way, was originally announced like a year ago, and I know we've talked about this before, and so it sounds like it is just now finally coming to fruition.
I like to see the integration. I like to see the cooperation integration between the two. I mean, you would hope that you'd see that happen between the other two platforms that exist, like Apple and Google. But
yeah,
one can only hope.
Yeah. I mean, there's a quote in the story: "The collaboration reflects our belief that when people and technology work together, everybody wins." So certainly a feel-good sentiment there, and I'm a fan of seeing this. Again, I'm just trying to think of what the specific use cases are, but I'm sure they're out there, and hopefully some people will get some enjoyment out of that. So moving on, CE Pro, the leading trade publication in the smart home industry, has been acquired by Emerald Expositions, the trade show and media company that acquired CEDIA Expo last year. Emerald is also buying the rest of EH Media's Connected Brands group, which includes commercial integrator, security sales and integration, and related events and brands. So this one for the industry folks is definitely big news.
Yeah. I mean, the EEX, is that how you say it? EEX. Emerald Expositions is really like coming into its own here in our industry. I wonder what the end goal is for them to be kind of like, will CEDIA eventually become rebranded and renamed into more of a home technology show that's just kind of open and for everything? I don't know. Things are changing. This stuff has got to change too, the trade shows and everything. I think you're seeing that, but this should be interesting to see how this plays out too, because this is kind of the main. This is CE Pro. It's also commercial integrator, security sales integration, like you said, and that's the main news and everything that goes into our industry comes from those publications. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, they're definitely the big dog. And so it was, like I said, for industry folks, I know it was one of those things I saw come across my inbox and clicked on right away to get the scoop. Big news. So I guess, congrats. I'm assuming this is great news to the team at CE Pro. I know Julie, I would say, fairly well and work with Jason fairly closely. And, everyone I've interacted with at CE Pro has always been great to work with. And they've been around for a long time and working hard to build up that publication. So I'm super happy for them and can only hope that the quality of the publication continues to be what it's always been. It's a fantastic resource for the industry.
EasyLow, a global innovator and developer of smart home automation solutions, today announced the acquisition of California-based company Myos, a leading smart home services platform provider with an established history in the IoT market. Myos are the people behind the Vera home automation platform, which a couple of our I know TJ was looking into it. I've used them. A couple of people use it quite a bit out there. Pretty cool product. This is pretty interesting. I wonder what this means for that product and for the industry.
Yeah, I'm with you. I read this story initially, and I had to remind myself who, I don't know if it's MyOS or Mios, spelled M-I-O-S. Took me a minute. That name was super familiar to me, but it took me a minute to connect those dots and remember, exactly who that was. And I have to admit, and I don't know, Seth, if I should be embarrassed about this. I've never heard of EasyLow, EasyLO. But,
me either.
Click through their website. They appear to be a Z-Wave brand. There's some verbiage on their website specific to attending CEDIA this year. So they are going to be there, and maybe we'll have to, make some time to stop by their booth and get a better sense for who they are and what this story really means. I know that Vera is a really, I think, a fairly popular product out there, particularly in the DIY space. And so I'm with you, Seth. I'm a little bit curious to know exactly what this story will translate to.
Yep.
All right, moving on. Great Call, a provider of mobile phone and connected health services to seniors. This is the company behind Jitterbug, the Jitterbug phone. You got to know that. You live in Florida.
Oh God, I know about those. I'm gonna. Yeah.
You probably know Great Call pretty well too, I would imagine. Yeah. So anyways, they were acquired by Best Buy for $800 million in cash. This is the second time it looks like Great Call has changed ownership in the last 14 months. So that's a little bit interesting. Not sure what's going on there, but it furthers Best Buy's retail strategy of selling more health and wellness products and positions Best Buy to increase RMR via the monthly services Great Call currently offers. I think I remember reading in the story that they had like 900,000 monthly subscribers. So that's a pretty healthy chunk of recurring monthly revenue. I don't know what those monthly contracts go for, but I know a lot of people are trying to get into the recurring monthly revenue game, and Best Buy appears to not be an exception to that.
Right, and it's interesting to see like a giant retailer like Best Buy kind of make this move.
Right.
To get something like this. This is home health and wellness. I mean, that's going to supposedly a big market in the future.
Yeah,
it's always been
I know you have your doubts about it, right?
Well, to me, it's always been like, oh, it's going to be huge next year, and then it never happens. It's like Linux on the desktop. It's the year of Linux on the desktop, and like, that it's kind of like a joke that it just never comes to fruition. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm still waiting for that big push into home health and wellness monitoring and technology, and I just haven't seen it. So.
Yeah, I wonder if it's going to come as younger, like millennials and like older millennials on that edge of the generation who have grown up with technology and are comfortable with it, have aging parents who actually start to need more of these wellness solutions in the home and aging in place and things like that. I think that's potentially where the confluence is. I know every time I read about it, the numbers look very, from a business opportunity perspective, the numbers look very juicy, obviously because of the number of aging seniors we have in our population now, or aging Gen Xers, I should say. So right. I'm with you. It's something I always read about and am intrigued to see how that market develops, but we just haven't really seen it become the mainstay that I think a lot of people believe it could be in our corner of the smart home here.
Right. Yeah. Maybe one day. I don't know. I'll keep holding my breath, I guess.
Mindful watching. Right.
Right. All right, Jason. Hey, did you know that it's complicated to connect a smart home
No,
up?
no.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Everything's wireless now.
Right. Yeah, it's wireless. You don't even need you could just set it up with an iPad. Boom, you're done.
It's easy.
Yeah.
It's cheap, wireless. It's all DIY.
Yep, cheap, fast, and wireless.
That's
right.
right.
That's what they say.
Yeah. And so you're obviously being a little facetious there, and we are wanting to talk for a few minutes here about a great story and accompanying video that came across The Verge this week. And we've had a few opportunities in the, I guess what I would call the mainstream tech press over the last couple of months. Digital Trends comes to mind. They've been doing some stories that feature like higher end connected home, Control 4 connected homes. And we had one about Savant, if you recall that, a few weeks ago. And it looks like The Verge also now has a series that I wasn't super familiar with before, so I'm not sure exactly what they were doing with this series prior to this story. But I think it's called, I'm trying to scan through the story here, like The Future Home or something like that. We'll have a link to it.
Home of the Future.
Home of the Future. There you go. Thank you. And we'll have a link to this in the show notes at HomeTech.fm/223. But a pretty cool, especially the video. The story, I didn't think there was a ton of meat on, but pretty cool actually to go check out this video if you're in the professional space and you want to see how the professional connected home gets covered in I guess again the mainstream press. Go check this out. And if you're not sure, if you're listening to the show and you're not totally aware of what a professionally connected home looks like as compared to something like a series of HomeKit gadgets and smart speakers, what's different about the professional connected home. This is a great video. It's about 8 minutes long, and I think really does a great job of showing what these homes are capable of.
Yeah, I watched this and I think it's a great primer of the smart home. Like, and the smart home, I think they say this a number of times. Like, this is the smart home that exists today, and it looks like a fairly basic setup. Looks like maybe a couple of zones of audio, like inside and outside. It looks like a smaller house. Looks like they have Lutron. I can see a couple of Roku players in there, maybe PlayStation 4. So it looks like maybe they're doing a lot of streaming in this house. And there's some decent network gear. There's Luxel. Looks like there's an Orbi up there and a couple of Sonos players. So lots of streaming going on, lots of networking going on in there. But they basically kind of go over why they had to looks like they retrofitted the entire house to do all this stuff. They wired it all up. They go over in this, why it's important to put wires in the wall. Like they go over, why it's important that you have devices that have an open API and what exactly an open API means. Like that, these are all like things that I think you and I, Jason, and people that listen to the show may take for granted, but if you're, just an everyday Joe out there looking into getting a smart home and trying to figure out where to start, like some of this stuff may be a little bit more difficult and hard to comprehend and understand unless you're dealing with it every single day. And I thought the way this was produced and set up and played out, it is an excellent primer. There's nothing, I didn't see like anything wrong with what they said about this. Like, they gave you a good way to go DIY, and they gave you a good way to go with an integrator. And I think this is probably one of the best videos I've seen in a very long time about the smart home.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very well done, and I think you made a good point there in terms of a great target audience for this video might be somebody out there who's getting ready to do a remodel or building a new home or just thinking about adding some technology to an existing home. And like if you're trying to figure out, okay, I hear about all this DIY stuff and I hear about HomeKit and Alexa and Google Home and Philips Hue and Nest and all these other brands and like all of the great things that you can do with all of those. And you can, like, they're fantastic products. They're very affordable and they're a great option for a lot of people. But depending on what you're trying to do, there's a very real possibility that they might not be the right solution for the project that you're doing. And you may actually be better off making a bigger investment in a professionally installed system that's going to give you more seamless control over things like audio, video, for example. And so watching a video like this, I think gives you that great primer. Like you said, Seth, a quick overview of what it really means to have one of these systems, having wires in the wall. Why is that important? Still, yes, believe it or not, it's not all wireless. And so a great video to watch if you're in that, in that camp. And like you said, just well produced. And I'm always a fan. It seems like we're seeing a little bit more of this now. Just this year, right? I can't recall a single time in the 4 years doing the show prior to the last few months that we saw outlets like The Verge and Digital Trends covering the professional space the way that they are now. And I'm a huge fan. I think it's great.
Yep. So I watched this. I'm kind of looking at the rack here, and I'm like adding stuff up. What do you think this thing costs in your head? This is it's a 2-zone system, but man, they've got some things that could be pretty expensive in this house.
I mean, it's hard to say. But it's a 10, in the tens of thousands.
Oh, I would say tens of that. Easily over 30 for like everything that got done. I would say easily over 30. And they didn't put that on the article, but I think that, I mean, just looking at it, looking at the zones, looking at the equipment they used, some of the things I don't know pricing for, some of the stuff I have in my head, like they did retrofit a bunch of wiring. And I mean, they had that in the video, so I know that there's labor involved. That's you've got to think about all that. So I'd say probably north of 30. Is where this cost.
I think that's a great guess. It's certainly not a 6-figure project, but and it's probably not high tens, but I would say probably if I had to guess, 30, 40 at the high end, maybe
somewhere in there,
25, 30. So it's somewhere in that range. And I know we're painting with broad strokes there, but it at least gives a general sense. Like, it is an investment, and a lot of what you're investing in is the infrastructure. This equipment is going to have to be replaced and updated over time. And, it's not going to have to be replaced like next year or 2 years or even 3 years from now necessarily. But, it's going to have to be maintained and supported and serviced. And you're going to need a professional to, keep it all up to date and keep it running. So it's a totally different ballgame. Budgetarily, it's a totally different ballgame from doing something like a really basic HomeKit setup, but it's also going to be far more functional at this point. Now, who knows in 5 or 10 years where the smart home is going to be as it pertains to solutions like HomeKit, but I think those companies have a long ways to go, and I'm not convinced that they're ever necessarily going to get to the point of what a fully integrated home using solutions like Control4, or I think in this case it was RTI. I can see Lutron in there. And these are mainstays in the professionally connected home, and they're very sophisticated and very powerful and can do quite a bit.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that there's a non-trivial piece there, that episode amp, the Crown amp that's there, that tells me there's a decent outside speaker setup outside with the buried subwoofer and everything. So like there's some labor that went into the job, and it could be over 40. I mean, especially depending on the market that it's in. Now that I'm thinking about it, like there's a lot that went into this job that you don't see. And I think that shows in the video if you watch it. Like, you don't see the wires running around, on the wall. You don't see the power cable going down underneath the TV.
Right.
Everything's hidden away. And I think that point's very well made. Like, this is why we do it this way, so you don't end up with this random wire that you have to get from point A to point B. Like, it's all thought out ahead of and planned ahead of, and this is how it gets set up and deployed, and at the end of the day, you can move into your house and put this nice furniture in with the little man doing the karate chop on top of the rack, and your weird artwork, and you don't have to worry about the technology. It just works. It's sitting in there, and somebody else has to make sure that it's up and going.
Right. Last thing I'll say about the story. If I was the integrator who did this project, I would be really bummed about one thing. And that is this nice, beautiful hero image that they've got on the story that does a fantastic job of highlighting the rack, and it all looks beautiful. And then you look underneath, and what do you see?
Living room. Yeah, I see some coax under there.
You got just the little bundle of extra cables that were pulled but didn't get used, and they're white, so they really stick out. And you can see the labels on the end there, and it's just like, not a big deal. They're clean. You can tell they managed them and they labeled them, and that's great. But I would not have wanted those in the shot.
Yeah, I don't know the time constraints they had. It looks like I saw some of the rack wiring that they did, and you can kind of see some through one of the shelves. Like, there's going to be a cable box or something that goes on that 2RU shelf there under the RTI processor. something's missing there because you can see cables coming to it that aren't hooked up. But like, I don't know, like it's on par with what I would say an average job would be, I'd say. But yeah, if you're going to have it on the front page of The Verge or whatever, I think you might want to tuck those up a little bit better, make sure they're off the floor.
Yeah.
Tie them off back there.
You know, it's not a knock on them. Like I've been around these sort of photo shoots and video shoots, and I know how they go. And like I said, you can tell they're cleanly managed, so it's not a mess. But
hey, everything's labeled cleanly.
Yeah, it just
level,
jumps out at
everything's level. Yeah. I mean, this is it only jumps out at you because everything else is done so clean.
Well, and I'm a former integrator, so I look at stuff like that. Yeah. Right? Exactly. Yep. Anyways, great story. So definitely go check it out. We'll include a link to it in the show notes once again at HomeTech.fm/223. We'll also include links to all of the topics we have discussed here in our episode. Once again, HomeTech.fm/223. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter where we'll send you, weekly show reminders and let you know what's going on here at the podcast. So one last time, that link is HomeTech.fm/223.
Don't forget, you can join us in the chat room live Wednesday starting at 7:30 Eastern, the true time zone. To find out more, go to hometech.fm/live. Eeks!
All right, Seth. Well, we've got a sort of a pick of the week. It's not necessarily a pick, but definitely a visual here that I thought was pretty creative. tvtemplate.com. I'm not sure where you found this one, Seth, but it is an interesting product.
They've been floating around. I think they're going to be at CEDIA this year. I thought I saw them either like in Innovation Alley back in the back there, or in one of the booths kind of in that area. But I saw them there, and then I've been seeing people talk about them. I think it popped up in the hub during this last week, and then I saw a post on the Control4 dealer forums, a private forum, that somebody was saying they went on Amazon and bought these. I'm looking at them on Amazon. It looks like they're $44 for a set of 6 TV-size posters. And what you do is you perfectly visualize what an 85, a 75, 65, 55, 49, and 40-inch TV will look like on your wall before you buy the TV. Pretty good idea, I think.
I like it. Now, I think probably the professionals in the audience are going to have a little bit of a different perspective on this than maybe the consumers or end users. I can tell you as a former integrator, there were countless times that I'd be on a job site, and the houses, like, you got to remember, a lot of these houses at the time, like one of the images on this website that I'm looking at here is exactly what we were dealing with, right? It's a house that's just being framed. So it's all studs.
And you've got like some makeshift scaffolding.
Yeah, there's like scaffolding and like people framing walls and electricians running around, and like the designer and the architect are there, and they're like, I really need to know exactly how big of a TV to put on this wall. And they got tight tolerances. It's not like you can just eyeball this thing. And so like literally you're running around with blue tape, like trying to pull up specs on your phone to measure it out. Or like I literally even had one time where the blue tape wasn't good enough for the architect, and we were literally running around the job site finding pieces of cardboard, Seth, that we could cut out to make these sort of TV templates on the fly to go room by room. This was like a 15,000 square foot house where they were trying to figure out what size TVs to put in, all 13 of the bedrooms. And it was a nightmare. And I remember thinking to myself, like, if there was just an easy way to go order templates and we could just keep a set of these in the shop and we'd use them all the time. Like, this question comes up all the time in the world of professional installation. And so I think it's a great idea. And, I think they'll have some success here. I'm not sure about the longevity of it. I think that one of the things here that's going to be a question mark is, like, I think of augmented reality, and I've seen IKEA has like this app now where you can see what a given couch will look like in your living room. And so I have to imagine, that something like that's going to exist for TV sizes as well at some point.
Yep. No, it definitely could. Definitely could. Definitely might. not saying I haven't been working on something like that, but yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah, teeing you up there, huh? All right. Seth's got something in the works.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens if I get to it. It's one of those things. Like, it's been a back burner project for about 5 years now. But,
yeah. You know what else? Yeah, you know what else? I sorry to interrupt you there. What I wonder about, and I'm a total dunce when it comes to this stuff. So I have no idea, like size wise, if like with 3D printing, like when 3D printers become more common, like what if you just had like a 3D printer template where it was like, print me the Sony XBR, print me a plastic template of the Sony XBR 75, 9500F, right? Like that could happen too. I'm not sure. But I think
Yeah,
in the
I
meantime,
suppose.
like this is a nice little product, and I would imagine relatively easy to produce. And so I think it's cool. I hope they have success with it.
Yeah, for $44 too, you get this set. It looks like it comes in a big tube, and just grab some tape or nails and stab it into the wall or onto the studs, and you're good to go. Like that's for the time being, this is probably one of the best ways I've seen to do this. And maybe in the future, like you said, there'll be some kind of, some augmented reality that would take over. I don't know how it work well on like the stud frame there, but it would definitely be able to find the plane on a drywall. But I don't know. This seems, for $44, it seems like a no brainer if you're in the sales field to have, to get out there and put it in.
Yep. Well, like I said, I think it's an interesting looking product, and I wish these guys success. I think it fills a nice little need in the market.
Nothing in the mailbag this week, but if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the form.
Absolutely. And like we do every week, we want to give a big thank you to everybody who supports our show, but especially to those of you who are able to financially contribute to our efforts through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support. And that's where you can learn how you can support our efforts here at HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 will give you a big shout out on air, but every single pledge will give you a invite to our private Slack channel, The Hub, where you can join other supporters of the show every day for the inside baseball conversation about all things home technology.
Yep, absolutely. And if you'd like to support the show but can't do it financially, we completely understand. If you can help the show out by giving a 5-star review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice that you use. 5 stars, that'd be great. That's the going price these days, I hear. So,
that's it.
Yeah, give us 5 stars.
That's it.
It's good podcast.
Yeah. So as we wind down the show here this week, we got a couple of Cedia things we want to talk about very quickly. First of all, the quicker one of the two is be sure to tune in next week. We're going to be doing our Cedia preview show, and that'll be a lot of fun. We're always tuned into Cedia and excited about what's going to be going on out there, and so we look forward to sharing our thoughts about what we're looking forward to at Cedia. And, if you have anything that you're looking forward to or big themes that you think will be prevalent at the show and want us to mention those on air, take a minute to shoot us an email. Again, that's feedback@HomeTech.fm, feedback@HomeTech.fm. We would absolutely love to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea. One thing I'm looking forward to, Jason, is the Home Tech Happy Hour. And
absolutely,
that's going to be on Thursday, September 6th at 5:30 p.m. at the Field Irish Pub and Restaurant on 5th Avenue there in San Diego. It is a short, couple blocks? Why? You don't have to take an Uber or anything. Just cross the street. Don't get hit by the train.
That's right.
Walk maybe a block or two, and you're there. You're done. Just come on upstairs, have a seat, and a drink. And it's a great time, great place to be.
Yeah, it's a fantastic venue. We did the same event there last year, so this will be our second annual Home Tech Happy Hour. And it literally is like 2 blocks from the convention center. You just walk north on 5th Avenue there, and it's at a place called The Field. Really cool spot right there in the heart of the gas lamp quarter, and a lot of good scenery, people watching. There's all kinds of restaurants and bars and stuff right there on that strip. So really fun place to be. And we're going to do that event early in the evening, again, 5:30 to 7 p.m. So we'll leave you plenty of time to go attend your big events that night. I think Control 4 is having their party that night, and I'm sure there's probably half a dozen other big events and about 1 million networking dinners and things of that nature going on. So come by, show up, hang out for 30 minutes, hang out for an hour and a half, whatever works. We'd love to have you there. HomeTech.fm/happy hour. Please do take a minute to go there to that website, HomeTech.fm/happy hour, and RSVP to let us know you're coming. We definitely need to have a head count, so we would greatly appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, we don't get in trouble with the fire marshal.
That's right.
That's the problem. This year we do have a host sponsor. We really like to give a big shout out and a thank you to Chow Mein Software and Apps. These guys develop drivers for Control4, Crestron, Elan, RTI, QSys, and URC. And they either do it directly for manufacturers or they fund it through like licensing on a per project basis. To find out more, you can go to chowmeinsoft.com. We also have a bunch of, happy hour friend options to sponsor open. And there's a couple of things. If you'd like to know how you can sponsor or help out with the festivities there at HomeTech Happy Hour, go to HomeTech.fm/happy hour.
Absolutely. I will echo what you said there and send a big thank you out to Chow Mein Software and Apps. We really appreciate your sponsorship. And if you do attend the event, be sure to go by and say hi to those guys. We really appreciate their generous support of the show and of this event. So with that, Seth, I think we'll wrap up. I look forward to catching up with you next week. And then the week after that, we're going to have to figure out what the plan is out there in San Diego. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm going to be pretty busy, and I'm sure you are too, but we'll definitely have to try and make sure that we touch base and try to do a live show from out there in San Diego. That's always a good time.
Yeah. We don't no committing to anything right now, but we should do something like HomeTech Live from the happy hour and see how if that even gets recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
But two, I think it'd be fun. So maybe
at the very least
around.
we could experiment with like Facebook Live or something, right?
Yeah.
We haven't really done any of that in the past, and we probably should get into that. I know that several of the supporters of the show, including Chris Gamble and JJ Cannon, and those guys are all big users of Facebook Live, and TJ. I see TJ on there quite a bit. So, maybe we should get into that. Maybe CEDIA is a good time to give that a go.
Not a bad idea. Well, Jason, next week, like you said, is our CEDIA pre-show or whatever we're gonna call it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But we're gonna sit down and take a look at what's going on at the show, what we think the big themes are gonna be, and do a little pre-show discussion, because that show will come out right before CEDIA, and then we're there. There's no time left. This is it.
There sure isn't. So that's exciting. So I look forward to connecting with you next week, Seth, and seeing you very soon out in San Diego.
All right, great. Thanks everybody for listening tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, thanks everyone.